Welcome back to another video. Glad you could join us. Now, I'm going to play a video clip, and this video clip features a young lady. She was a social worker, and over time, she grew a disdain towards other people. Okay, so rude people, the way people treated her throughout time. She became very resentful towards people and just ended up not liking them altogether. So we're going to go ahead and play that video clip, and then we're going to talk about it. Stay tuned.
In truth, I don't like people. I think as a recovering service worker, we do a pretty good job at playing nice and compromising and acting agreeable to people, but I do not like people. I don't like people. And there's multiple reasons for that. Multiple reasons I feel like I'm kind of alone on to a huge degree. Like I'm very much alone.
Now, I was not a service worker. However, when I was younger, I did work in customer service. So I got to see the bad side of humanity also. And when I say the bad side of humanity, I mean the rudeness of people, the arrogance, the lack of respect they have for customer service employees. I got to see that at a young age. So I understand what this young lady is saying. She has so many negative interactions with people till she really don't like people or don't want to deal with them. And she feels as though she's alone in this, but no, she's not alone, because a lot of people feel this way. A lot of people just aren't going to come out and admit this or be open about it, but a lot of people do feel this way. So I totally get where she's coming from. And working in customer service, I'm sure many of you can relate. I'm sure many of you have worked in customer service at some point. But working in customer service, these rude, arrogant people that you have to deal with, they know that they can get away with it because they know you as an employee, you can't do anything about it. You just have to sit there and tolerate their behavior. So they can come up and yell at you as much as they want. And they understand that if you mouth off at them, that there will be some form of reprimand, or perhaps you'll lose your job. It's almost as though they are taking advantage of the situation, because them as a customer, they know that you can't do anything about it. And then you as an employee, you understand that if you backtalk or mouth off, there will be some form of reprimand, or perhaps you'll lose your job. So you're just sitting here, you're enduring all this abuse from these rude customers. You're just constantly dealing with all this. And over time, you just develop a huge resentment, just like this young lady. So I was able to learn this at a young age, especially when it comes down to customer service, that for the most part, I'm not going to say all, but a good amount, okay, the majority of people do not care about you. They just want to be served, and you come last. And like I said, this is very apparent when you work customer service. Okay, any of you that worked in these positions, I'm sure you can relate to what I'm saying. But pretty much, they just want to be served, and then you come last. So I was younger when I worked these positions. Like I told you, I worked at the grocery store and I worked customer service and stuff like that. I didn't necessarily start to hate people, but over time, you kind of don't want to deal with people because you see how they are. And it's like, okay, well, I know what today is going to be like. Okay, yesterday was shitty dealing with these people. Tomorrow is going to be the same way. Why should I look forward to going to this job and dealing with more shitty people? So that was the mentality. And then over time, yeah, you do develop a resentment. But jobs like that, I didn't stay at those jobs long, because people I work with, they would get tired and they would get fed up, and some of them would mouth back at the customers. And a lot of times the customers will be shocked because they don't expect that. They feel as though you're scared of losing your job, but they encountered the wrong person. They're not the only ones that can have a bad day. The freaking employee can have a bad day too. And then all it takes is one rude customer to tick them off, and yeah, they'll just blow up on them. And then they're shocked when that happens because they don't expect you as an employee to yell at them or to backtalk. But let's get back into the video and see what else she has to say.
Recovering service worker, I've seen the worst side of humanity. And yeah, it still causes me social anxiety to this day. Hell, it's difficult for me to even talk in front of a camera in a place by myself because of my social anxiety from dealing with the worst side of humanity.
Now, I made a video on bullying and how bullying can have adverse effects on someone's mental health, how bullying can affect someone's self-esteem and someone's confidence in a negative way. And this is really no different what she's saying here. She's pretty much saying that she's dealt with so much negativity, so many negative interactions with people, till she has developed social anxiety. So she has this social anxiety, and it's pretty much to the point where she's uncomfortable even talking to her phone. So once again, this just goes to show the adverse effects it can have on someone's mental health. So pretty much it's like your brain telling you that every interaction with another human is going to be negative. Although that might not necessarily be the case, it's going to be in your mind from having all those bad experiences with people. It's going to be in your mind that pretty much any interaction or most interactions with another human will be negative. And that leads to this anxiety, this social anxiety, where you're just uncomfortable talking to people. You don't want to be around people. And as she mentioned, it might be uncomfortable to even talk to your phone, even if you're alone in a room by yourself. So yeah, that's the type of impacts it'll have on you, just having these negative interactions. So let's see what else she has to say.
Anyways, I don't like people. If we meet, there's a high chance I just won't have a feeling for you. I won't like you. Child-free anti-natalist. I've had, when I was young, I've had experiences in my life to where I've developed the viewpoint. When I was 9 years old, I decided I wasn't going to have children. By children, I mean biological children. When I was 9 years old, I was like, I'm going to adopt. I've dealt with a lot of traumas, and generally life is it's a struggle. That's just life in general, and this isn't some manifesto for self-harming or something I will do to myself. It's
Okay, so there you have it. Now that's pretty much the same thing we discuss on this channel. And apparently she's an anti-natalist as well. And she was able to determine at a young age that she would not have children. If anything, she would adopt, but she would not have her own children. And she understands the struggle. She understands how this world operates. She understands the corrupt system, and she don't want to impose that on her offspring. So I totally get what she's talking about. Okay, all of us in this community, we understand. Now, you'll be surprised to know that many people adopted the anti-natalist philosophy. However, in this society, it just doesn't pay off to make that publicly known. Because as you know, you'll be shunned, you'll be ridiculed. People think something wrong with you. Even if you're an anti-natalist, your family might not be. And if you mention it to them, more than likely they'll have a problem with it. So with that being said, most people rather just keep it to themselves if they are an anti-natalist, because it's less of a hassle to keep it to yourself rather than making it publicly known and having all these people ridicule you and lashing out at you. Because this type of society that we live in, they're not very accepting of this mentality.
I acknowledge that life is difficult, and the traumas I've had to deal with, either inflicted from other people or, mental illness. I don't want to bring a child into this world. Not with the anti-natalist, child-free mindset.
Now, that is another great point that she made. She's able to acknowledge that life is difficult. But here's the thing. When you start speaking like that, people think something's wrong with you. So when you start saying life is difficult and that you're not having any children, that's the perfect concoction for people to start saying you need help, you need therapy, or you're going to inflict harm on yourself. But that's not the case. The thing is, you see how things are and you're talking about it. That's all that is. You see something wrong with all this. You might not see this place as ideal for your children. You don't want your children here to deal with this corrupt system. When you start talking like that, that's when people start saying that something's wrong with you and that you might hurt yourself. So this is yet another reason why people don't open up about these type of things, because as soon as they open up and start talking about it, that's when people say all this nonsense. That's when they start making all these assumptions about you. So I understand why so many people just remain quiet about this, because it could be easier just to keep it to yourself and not say nothing at all.
Religiously motivated, which brings me to my other point, being an atheist. I feel terribly alienated from, what is it, the 70% of Americans who are like Christian, especially with my family, because they're just like mega religious. I like people who can step outside of societal norms. They can think, develop their own understanding of the world that wasn't just told by mom and dad.
Now that sounds familiar as well. A story that wasn't told by mom and dad or society. Okay, so she's saying all the lies that have been perpetuated over time. All the lies people have been told, they believe it. Whereas, let's say us, for example, we're able to see things how they are and pretty much form our own conclusion. We're not going to buy into this whole narrative. So that's pretty much what she's saying. She like people that are more open-minded. Okay, people that are open-minded. People that don't abide by the narrative. Because the narrative, like I said many times, when you add it all up, none of it makes sense. But people still believe the lies because the lies are comforting. Okay, but if you can just see the true reality for what it is, you embrace it, you understand it, then yeah, I mean, you're an open-minded person. You're a free thinker. So that's pretty much what she's saying. But people like that are very hard to find, especially in real life. I know we have a community here on the internet, but in real life, it's difficult to run across people like that because people are sheep. Okay, they all think the same way for the most part. So yeah, I mean, you're pretty much stuck. You know, if you find someone like that in real life, hold on to them, because it's very difficult to find people like that. 99% of people that you encounter in real life are pretty much all going to think the same way. Whether that's your family or not, they're all going to pretty much think the same way. Very seldom will you encounter someone that think like us here in this community. Okay, but let's get back into it.
And that's difficult to find people who media is powerful. It's difficult to find people who can think outside of what they've been told their entire lives.
That's another great point, and I'm sure you guys recall me speaking about this as well, because even some of you guys left comments saying you don't believe in God, you're an atheist, and your family treated you certain ways because of it. Well, it's true. Okay, you have a very religious family and you have more sense than them, and you can see something's just not right with all this religion, and you form your own beliefs, your own opinions. They have a problem with it. And most of society is like this. It don't just have to be your family. Most of society is very religious. And when they find out you have a different belief system, okay, you believe something completely opposite, yeah, they're going to have a problem with it. And they're going to call you out. Because I've been called out many times, as you all already know. And a lot of you guys told me you experienced the same thing with your family and just people in general. So that's pretty much what she's saying. Okay, she's an atheist and her family's very religious, and apparently they got a problem with it. And that just adds more to the social anxiety. So yeah, you get social anxiety from both sides, people in general and your family as well. So by her family treating her this way because she have her own beliefs, that's just more social anxiety when you get around your family. It might not be on the same level as dealing with other people, but it's still some form of it from your family too. Because the way they treat you, they have this belief system. They hold this God in such high esteem. And here you are, atheists, don't believe at all. They're going to have a problem with that. And they're going to make you feel bad. Unless you're the type of person that just don't care, they're going to make you feel bad. They're going to shame you for it. And a lot of people just can't handle that, okay? Everyone's not as strong as that. I know a lot of you guys don't care what people say about you, but everyone's not like that, okay? If someone's family shamed them for it, they're going to feel bad. They're going to feel a certain way. All right, let's get back into it.
You know, I'm basically like a hermit. I isolate myself from people because I just get tired of trying to pretend to fit in with ideas that I don't agree with.
All right, so she admitted that she is a hermit. She'd rather just stay inside the house. She don't really want to go out. She don't want to socialize. She don't want to deal with people. She'd rather isolate herself. So it's gotten to the point where she don't like people at all. She have no interest in even meeting people and getting to know them. She just rather stay isolated and not deal with people at all. And I understand where she's coming from, because when you isolate yourself like that, yeah, you don't gotta deal with the stress and all that stuff. And like she mentioned earlier, she already got social anxiety. So by her isolating herself like that, that social anxiety is reduced to insignificant. So I understand why she does that. It's probably more beneficial to just stay isolated rather than dealing with people and dealing with all that anxiety and whatever else comes with it. While most people might see that as a bad thing, she see it as beneficial. By her staying isolated, she can recharge herself rather than going out amongst people in society and being drained of all her energy. So it's more beneficial for her to stay isolated than going out socializing. She don't like socializing and have her energy robbed from her. So most people don't see it like that, but yes, it works out in her favor better to stay isolated. And that's how it is with most introverts. Introverts rather be isolated than deal with people. Let's go.
Again, recovering service worker, constantly trying to pretend being outgoing and liking people. And nah, I don't like people. I genuinely, it'd be cool if I didn't have to interact with people. That's why I love like grocery pickup and delivering packages to the front door, because interacting with people is exhausting. And I'm an introvert. It's funny, when I was a kid I was such an extrovert, but now I'm such an introvert, and conversing with people is extremely tiresome, and it runs deep than just people being energy vampires. And
now I'm going to stop the clip right there, because that's pretty much the gist of it. Now, she was saying when she was younger she was very extroverted, but as she matured she became more of an introvert. Now, being an introvert and then being forced to interact with people, that will drain your energy, because as an introvert you don't need the constant social interactions. You're perfectly fine being alone. Yes, it'll be nice to link up with your friends, your buddies, and go out, whatever, but as an introvert, it isn't required. For example, how most people always need somebody. They always need somebody to talk to. They always need someone in their presence. As an introverted person, you do not need that. You could go days, weeks, I'll venture to say months, perfectly fine being alone without needing any interactions. And it will not have a negative effect on your mental health. Only a true introvert could pull that off. An extrovert, on the other hand, could not do that. That would be a death sentence for an extrovert. They constantly need people in their presence. Constantly. So, whereas an extrovert won't get drained, always having people around, as a matter of fact, that would energize an extrovert. But an introverted person, you already don't really like being around people. Being forced to have those interactions will drain you. Okay, it will drain you. And that's pretty much what she was saying here. For example, reading a book or hands-on activities, that's the type of stimulation a introverted person needs. Okay, that's more than enough to stimulate an introverted person's mind. Whereas an extroverted person, they need other people to stimulate their brains. An introverted person can do something simple and get just as much stimulation. That doesn't require other people. So again, an extroverted person, they get their energy from other people, constantly being around other people. An introverted person get their energy from being alone, being solo, being isolated. Okay, it's kind of like recharging for an introverted person. They can recharge being alone and just stimulating their own mind through, like I said, through reading, hands-on activities, wherever little solo hobbies. They don't even have to require other people. It can be a solo hobby. That's how an introvert can pretty much rejuvenate themselves and also stimulate their mind. But an extrovert, they can't do that. They can't. Okay, extrovert, they got to be around people to get that energy, to get that mental stimulation. So, but this chick, she's already an introvert, and just having to deal with people, that drains whatever remaining energy she have left. But I agree with everything she's saying. That's perfectly understandable what she said in that video. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Let me know if you agree or if you can relate to what she was saying. Until next time, embrace your inner darkness. I'll catch you on the next one.